How's it going? How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the finale of Phase 1 with the Avengers. So, Ethan and I are here again for the last episode of not the last episode of the podcast, but the last episode of Phase 1 of the podcast, where we're talking about the first Avengers movie. Yeah. So, it took a little bit to get the mic set up, so Ethan's brain is turned to mush.
Yep.
So, we'll see how this one goes, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just ready to throw my computer out the window at this point, so... Anyways, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Yeah, cool. So, today, like I said, we're talking about 2012's Avengers, which for some reason in the UK is called Avengers Assemble. That's what the thing was called, because we have a UK disc, I guess. I don't know. But, yeah. So, it was directed by Joss Whedon, who directed the amazing Justice League movie that came out, and apparently is a racist, horrible human being.
Oh,
so
the best kind.
So that kind of sucked. So yeah, a good movie. Mm-hmm. Apparently, he's a very bad man, but whatever. He made a good movie, so that's okay.
Yeah, we'll just look past that part.
Yeah,
and not acknowledge it.
Nah. So, yeah. So, first thoughts. Great movie. Really good movie. Mm-hmm. You and I have watched it since we were like 2 years old.
Yeah.
So.
Because that's how long it's been out.
Definitely. Yeah. So yeah, this is something that I know I watched all the fucking time when I was a kid. So.
Oh yeah, I've seen it multiple times.
Yeah. So yeah, it was hard, especially for this one, to look for stuff, because I've seen it so many times now that it's really hard to...
Yeah, most of my things are positive, so
yeah.
Literally no negatives.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, really good movie, and definitely a great way to end out Phase 1 with an actual banger instead of,
oh, yeah.
a whimper, like everything else that they've been doing lately, so...
Yeah.
We'll have to see how new Black Panther is and how they end off Phase 4.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. But, yeah. So, this was the first team-up movie and what this whole phase has been leading up to. And do you think that they, stuck the landing with it?
I definitely, yes. Very good. They really tied it all together. And it's funny how... I feel like Phil Coulson was in most of them, right?
Yeah.
So he basically has relations to every single one of them. So I love how that's how they tied him in, tied them all together. So
yeah. I think the only one nice. Yeah. I think the only one he wasn't in was Captain America and Hulk.
Yeah.
That's because no one liked Hulk. So it's okay.
Yeah, he was just fangirling over Captain America.
Yeah, that
so.
was funny. Dude wanted him so bad. It was really funny.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't? Exactly.
So yeah, definitely really good movie. I'm glad that this was pretty much one of the first crossover movies ever, I guess. Yeah. Not ever, but for a whole film franchise and stuff. So I think
the biggest, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they definitely stuck the landing with it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we really don't have any negatives for this one. We mostly have all positives.
Yeah, so. It's funny. This is probably going to be a short one, too.
Yeah, I know. But whatever. So what is your first positive?
Well, let's see. Well, going into the movie itself, I see it as a perfect mix of action and character development, because it wasn't all fighting like Captain America was. But they were also... I think what helped it with character development is the fact that they were able to have the movies before it. So you already saw what they were before. Mm. And then you see them all come together, and obviously it's a rocky start at first. And then they all come together once Loki and the Chitauri come out. And yeah, it's a perfect team up, honestly. They all worked so well together. You see how... Well, shit, I had examples, but then when I came to talk about it, they're all gone. So, yeah. The main conflicts between the group was, I think, Iron Man and Captain America. They were butting heads because, they're like, oh, Captain America's like, oh, we need to follow orders, and Tony's like, no.
Yeah.
So they're fighting for leader, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Hulk really is just
There.
there.
Yeah. But in a good way.
Yes,
Good way.
yes. Obviously, Black Widow and Hawkeye have the past connection, which I think they set up pretty well. Because, I mean, seeing as how they weren't in the movies very much.
Especially Hawkeye.
Yeah. I mean, we saw him for one scene and then he was gone.
Yeah.
So it's cool that they could build up a connection in that little amount of time between the two. So you really felt it when stuff happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was good to see how, like, once Phil died, obviously, like, they all came together as like, oh, damn, they killed him? Oh, we gotta go in now.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see them, like, fighting for a reason and not just fighting because it's an action movie.
Yeah.
So
I get that. And I've seen people talk about this movie in, like, really high standards, of course, which I think it deserves it.
Yeah.
But, like, lately, since everyone is on, like, the fuck Marvel train right now, again, for pseudo good reason. The only thing I don't like about the hate Marvel train right now is that they're going back to the other ones and making fun of them too, which I don't think they deserve it. Like, now it deserves it, but like, people go and talk about the first Avengers and they say like the first half isn't so boring and then the rest of it sucks. Well, I mean, no, not sucks, but the first half sucks and the rest of it's really good.
Yeah.
Like the final fight.
I don't see how it's boring.
Me neither.
It's not big action movie, but they're developing plot.
Yeah,
Loki
that's the thing.
Carves out a dude's eye.
Yeah.
You know. Yes, it may be a little quick, but I think it just makes up for it in how well the story's written.
Yeah, that's the thing that I thought was funny. It's everyone's like, "Oh, this movie's so boring." And I'm like, "No, it's not, dude.
Did you just watch the same movie we watched?"
Yeah, I know. Because like, I think all the character interactions, everyone works well off of each other. There's only one of the main cast I'm not the biggest fan of in this one, but like everyone else I think was like perfectly fine. Especially Mark Ruffalo as the new Hulk.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so much fucking better than Edward Norton. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
And not just because, like, of bias or anything. It's just because, no, he objectively does a better job. Yeah. So, and he's not, like, everyone, like, is in it, but, like, they don't, it's weird. I don't know how to describe it, but they all have, like, the same amount of screen time, but also don't at the same time.
Yeah, it really does feel like even Nick Fury gets his fair share of screen time, so... I really do feel like they divide it up pretty equally so that everyone, gets their fair share of screen time. Yeah. So, although I do think Hawkeye got the least amount, but I think he just got more at the end, maybe.
Yeah,
but
he was cool at the end when he was there. And I feel like they noticed that because in Age of Ultron he's a much bigger role in that one. So I think they realized, like, oh fuck, we need to do more shit with Hawkeye.
Yeah. And it's funny that they all kept bringing up Phase 2 throughout the whole movie.
That was so funny. We in Phase 2. We're still in Phase 1, bro. Come on.
Yeah, it's just funny to see, like, now that we know what actually happens, it's like, Phase 2?
Yeah.
What?
Wait a minute.
Yeah. I had... Oh, yeah. Captain America. I know I said in Captain America's movie that he doesn't really show that he's... man out of time, but in this movie you actually see it, and I didn't realize it at first, but neither. While you watch it you're like, oh wait, because the reference, he's like, I know that, I got that reference.
Please.
Yes. And then when he's like fix the engine, he's like, seems to be running on electricity.
Well, you're not wrong.
Yeah, so I retract my statement. He does, like, question a bunch of things.
Well, in this one.
Yes, in this one, yes. But
and he does have some of those, like, old-timey language, like, son of a gun, and he says shit like that.
Yeah. You definitely see it, which I didn't realize it the first time I watched it, so... But now looking back at it, I'm like, oh yeah, he actually does. So... Yeah.
But I think it is funny to see that, because it's like he doesn't do it a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and even in this movie, he doesn't really question a bunch because it's not his story and
Mhm.
stuff. It's everyone's story,
Yeah.
so they can't really delve too far into it. But like, again, I do wish that to a degree they would have gone into some depth about it later on, even though they kind of do, but they kind of don't.
Yeah.
But like, I think this one was fine. With
Yeah.
it,
The
so.
the subtle nod to it I like,
Yeah.
because there's no way to. You can't really just say, "Oh, I don't understand this. Please explain."
Yeah. Exactly.
You just have to be subtle with it, like
Yeah.
he questions some things or like that. Because if you just like say it outright, like, "Oh, you don't know what this means,"
Mhm.
then it's not really
Yeah.
doesn't work into the story.
Yeah, they only did that with like the Stephen Hawking thing. It's like,
Mm.
oh, the guy's like a Stephen Hawking. Who?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they did a good job.
Oh, yeah.
To a degree, so that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think all the actors did do a really good job, and this is like something with like the X-Men, which I thought was like
Mhm.
you said earlier. Is that like again X-Men First Class? Like you didn't know most of the people, and even though you already knew Professor X and Magneto, you
Yeah.
still didn't know these versions of them. So they had to establish so much stuff. So I feel like this movie definitely was so much better because you didn't have to like reintroduce characters. Like I feel like the only ones that they kind of did that with were like a Black Widow and Hawkeye, and that was only because like most people didn't really know. And Black Widow was mostly like when Loki was like telling her about like Dreykov and
Yeah.
the daughter and shit. And Hawkeye, we don't really know anything about him. He's just
Yeah.
the bow guy who fought with her in
The bow
Budapest
guy.
or some shit. But yeah, I think like that's the only time that they like try to give other shit to characters. But for the most part, like you said, it's just you don't need to establish them; they're already there.
Yeah.
So it just makes the story go
Yeah.
a lot nicer.
One of the, I think the only negatives, but it's not for this movie, is the fact that they don't elaborate on Hawkeye and Black Widow's story any further.
Yeah.
They just mention it and move on,
Mm-hmm.
which is not this movie's problem, because... Okay. So, it's not this movie's problem, it's a future problem.
Mhm.
So it's not the movie's fault, so I can't, it's not a negative for this movie. It's just a negative for the franchise, I guess.
Yeah.
Like they don't
ever elaborate on
Yeah,
it.
that's what I was trying to. Yeah.
Even in Black Widow.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that's what Black Widow was going to be about. Because, like, they mention it so many times. I'm just like, oh, maybe we'll finally see the movie. Oh, nope. I guess we'll never see that.
No.
I don't know. But yeah, and it was cool. Because even though, like, most people, like, would shit on Hawkeye, like, you agree with me. He's, like, one of the best
Oh, yeah.
characters in the whole series. So it's just... It kind of sucked that he, like, was a bad guy in the beginning. But, like, again, once he breaks out of the mind control, he's a dope guy who's like
Yeah.
killing out. Like one of the best parts when he like shoots the arrow at Loki and Loki catches it and it
Yeah.
just blows up. Like that was awesome.
Yeah, and it was funny too because we were able to like find the scene where he saves Kate.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I'm glad they tied that in
Yeah.
that way and didn't, in the show change it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they like show what he's doing from her perspective,
Yeah.
and it's the same as the movie. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
so.
I know. That was dope.
Yeah.
Again, Hawkeye was good until like the last episode, so
Mhm.
it's just like that was one of the ones that I did
Yeah,
really
Hawkeye
enjoy.
was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I think it was nice to like, because again, he was only in one scene in Thor.
Yeah.
So it was nice.
I know.
I'm glad that they like did something with him in this
Yeah.
one, and even further in the other movies, just flesh him out more.
oh yeah. What's next?
Hulk, I guess we can go back to it. He looks so much better
Oh,
than
yeah.
he did in the Incredible Hulk, because like the Incredible Hulk, it looked like a PS2 cutscene. Like it looked fine, but it looked bad at the
Yeah.
same time. Especially like at the college when like he broke out, like during
Yeah.
the daylight, it was just like, ooh, that don't look too good. But like this one, it looks perfect.
Oh yeah, the CGI is much better.
Yeah, and again, it's because like higher budget, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah.
But it's just like all the effects I think in this movie are really good. Like the Iron Man suit looks fantastic.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
all the fights look good. Like we even said during it that it's better CGI here than modern day Marvel. So,
Oh yeah.
It's just like I think all the effects look really good. There wasn't like a time in the movie where I'm like, oh, that doesn't look real, which is how some things are. But like this time it was like, no, I can't.
Oh yeah,
Tell
I mean, they really had to step up the CGI budget because they had the Chitauri and everything,
Yeah.
so they had to work on that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Like I can't imagine how expensive
Oh,
that battle in New York
God.
was. Like Jesus, so much shit was happening.
I think that's like half the budget.
Yeah,
honestly.
that's serious. That's probably why they had the whole beginning, just not a lot of action.
Yeah, because they had that much.
Yeah,
Going.
but like, damn, like all of that looked perfect. So,
Yeah.
and even there's stuff in Infinity War I can like look back on. Good idea. I can look back on and be like, yeah, that doesn't look the greatest. But
Yeah.
like in this one, it's like no, everything that's in this looks perfect.
Oh yeah,
So
they really went all in on this movie, and
Yeah.
I'm so glad they did because it turned out amazing.
Mhm.
So
thank God.
yeah, yeah. And going back to Hulk, I like how first like he knows he's learned how to control his Hulk, and but he also doesn't want to let it out.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a great way to. It's kind of the same way, same thing they have to do for Professor X, because Hulk is so powerful. They don't want to, let him loose at the very beginning.
Mhm.
So, I think there's a really good way to make sure or whatever. I'm trying to say something, but I don't know what it is. This computer really took the power of my brain.
You're talking about Hulk and how they did good with Hulk.
Yeah, and how they nerfed him like they did Professor X. Yeah, they did a good job. They had a good reason for it. That's what I was trying to say.
Gotcha.
They had a good reason for doing it so that, they could not...
Win instantly.
Yeah, exactly. And I like how when they did let him out, it was because he lost control.
Yeah.
And it wasn't his choice. So I feel like that was a smart way to do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
That's
because
what I
Hulk
was
only
trying
has
to
like
say.
2 scenes in this movie, like as
Yeah.
Hulk, and I think it's done really well. Like him fighting Thor was cool. Him chasing Black Widow was awesome. And then finally at the end, like one of the best parts of the movie is like, that's my secret cap. I'm always angry. Just instantly transforms and bashes that thing.
Yeah.
Like that was awesome. So
Yeah, I also liked how at the beginning they were all afraid of him, except for Tony, who just like, fuck it, let's do it. Yeah, but I like how they were all like afraid of what he could do, and it makes sense because they don't know what he can do, and they don't know if he can control it. So I'm really glad that they weren't just like, oh, he's Hulk, fine, but I liked how they were scared of him.
Yeah.
So. Like, at the beginning, he gets mad and Natasha pulls out the gun from under the table. And she's visibly afraid.
Yeah.
So,
I thought that was really good acting on her part.
Great writing and acting. So, that's why the movie does so well. It's the little things that make it work so much better. So
Yeah. Because, like, going to that Black Widow, too, is that this is where she becomes Black Widow to me. Because even in Iron Man 1, like I said, not Iron Man 2, like I said in the review, is that she didn't feel like Black Widow yet. Like, she was still learning the role, but in this one, she perfects it.
Oh, yeah.
And this is how she is the whole rest of the series, which is a good thing, because now she feels comfortable with the role, I'd assume, and because the whole movie, she's perfect. So it's like, yeah, she finally comes to in the role. And same thing with pretty much everybody else, too. Like, they seem to get it down pat, except for one of them. I'll get into that later, but
I still have no idea who you're talking about. But we'll see.
yeah.
Yeah, I just think that the characters have more to work with. Because, I mean, Iron Man, so Robert Downey Jr. had the most time to perfect his character.
Yeah.
So, I think he does. He really does his character well. Seeing as how he's like the icon of the MCU.
Yeah.
So, but I think since everybody had their own movie except for Hawkeye and Black Widow, I think they just had more to work with this time around. So they had more story established, so they know what they were trying to work with. So
Yeah.
they did
Nice.
much better.
Yeah, and even like not even like the main Avengers, like Nick Fury, Agent Hill, Phil Coulson, like they were all great characters. They had a lot to do. Hill not as much, and she never really does have like a lot to do,
but somehow is still a big character.
yeah, I know. Like, I know her name. It's
Yeah.
like she's around a lot. She does cool stuff. So it's like, yeah, she's dope, even though she's not in them very much. And Nick Fury, of course, is amazing, and Phil Coulson too. So it's just so cool how all these guys have like such good chemistry together that they can all bounce off each other super well. And even though I do think that the other Avengers movies are better, besides like Age of Ultron, I do think this is like the best one for like them bouncing off of each other and stuff. So
Definitely.
because this is like really the only one where they're like all together, and like even in like in Endgame and stuff, they're together but not really.
Yeah, they're
So,
all
like,
in the movie, but they're not all working together. So
but this one, they're like, so
yeah. And one other thing, the Hydra setup, I really loved because I mean, look, watching it for the first time, you wouldn't have known, but going back, you see the one dude. Yeah,
Yep.
you see him in the control room.
Sitwell.
Yeah, that dude. Yeah. I love how when Cap finds the Hydra gear and all that stuff, he's like, oh, that's like the big reveal. They're making weapons. But the one little negative is I think they did it too subtly, introducing whatever the fuck his name was. So, like, looking back at it, you can see him. It's like, oh, that's that dude.
Yeah.
But if you had watched it for the first time with no prior knowledge, you're like, who the fuck is that dude?
It's just some random.
I mean,
shield
you
guy.
wouldn't even ask. You're just like,
you'd be like,
oh,
it's
a
a
random
guy.
dude.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool that they had him in the movie, but I think they could have, lingered on him a little bit more.
Yeah. I think they didn't want to make it too obvious he was important or anything. But
Yeah, I think they just didn't make it obvious enough. They lingered on that waitress longer than they lingered on him.
Seriously, though. And we never see her again.
She's just in that one news report.
But yeah, I do think that was pretty cool, and that's the thing where it's like it's the world building done right. So it's not just like, there are a lot of examples now where it's like End of Hawkeye, for example, is just setting up so much stuff, like setting up Daredevil, setting up Echo, nothing to do with Hawkeye. So that's like the bad kind of setup, and then like a lot of other stuff now.
Well, I'd say that Hawkeye was the one that did the... Well, I mean, Loki was pretty good too with setup. But Hawkeye is definitely not the worst with setup.
No, definitely not. That was just the first example that came
Yeah. Because we were talking about it. But yeah, like, in Hawkeye, the setup is... I mean, it's saved for the last episode, really. Yeah. Except for Echo, who's was in the show the whole time. So it makes sense why she's getting set up. It's just that I think what you're saying is like they didn't really set up Hawkeye stuff.
Yeah, like the setup in that show I think took away from the Hawkeye stuff.
Yeah.
And not like took away where it made it not enjoyable, but especially in the last episode, like the stuff with Kingpin, I was so happy to see Kingpin again, but it was kind of like just him and Echo went on like their own like side quest in that episode, and it was kind of like that's taken away a lot from. Again, sure, Kingpin did fight Kate Bishop and stuff, but that still felt like manufactured, like, oh, we need this to happen. So
yeah. And I think at the end, I know there's like that one little scene where they go to Barton's house and they're like having the family dinner or whatever, and then I think it's him retiring and passing on the title of Hawkeye to her, which I mean is great because I liked the end scene was good. It's just I think they did it just so little setup, just because it was the ending of that Hawkeye and the start of a new one. So, yeah.
It was an awful setup. It was just like that setup that definitely, like, when you watch, especially Kingpin showed up and then died.
Yeah.
He didn't die,
quote
but
unquote died.
But like that's the thing where it's like, oh, that's setting up something else, and but like in this one, it's like subtle where it's like, yeah, it could be happening, but you're not quite sure and stuff like that. And again, obviously we're sure now, but like then if you watch it, you'd be like, ooh, is Hydra still around? Who knows? So it's like mystery stuff like that, instead of like just being like, oh, this whole thing is just a setup for this. So
yeah, and I'm glad that no one just thought to do anything like She-Hulk of their ending. Jesus Christ. Oh, you wanted a show with, plot? No,
Yeah.
you get no plot. Oh my god, that was
Great show.
painful
I love
to
that
watch.
show.
The
So
last.
I can't wait till we have to do that episode, bro.
Luckily, that's far in the future.
Exactly. Jesus.
We'll
But,
already
yeah.
know the setup for that. So
But yeah,
Oh,
like it's just
boy.
so weird how perfect this movie is, and then compared to
yeah, today like
Yeah.
they have
Fallen.
dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
again, I am excited for Phase 5 because I hope that they learn. Because I've actually seen a couple reports now. Again, I don't know if they're legit or not, but I
Right.
keep seeing these reports that they're thinking of turning some of like the shows into specials and shit, like how Werewolf by Night was.
Oh yeah, yeah. yeah.
And I think that would be
I
such
completely
a
forgot to watch that.
Oh. Well, it was good. I actually
Okay,
liked that
okay.
one,
All
and it was one of the only things they made that people are, I think, praising it a little too highly. I think it's just because like
Marvel. It's the huge step up from
yeah,
what they have been
yeah.
doing.
So I think that's
Okay.
why everyone's saying it's so great. I
Uh-huh.
think it's good. I still like it, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's phenomenal or anything.
Right.
But like, it's definitely so much fucking better than everything they've made this year, in my opinion. Again, it's the best thing they've made this year.
Yeah.
And it's only
Okay.
like 50 minutes, so it's like, I think
Okay.
they
now
would.
I'm excited.
I think it would be a much better idea
Yeah.
than to make all these shitty shows and
Yeah.
then just make a one movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, again, like we were saying last week, like the stuff with Captain America, I do think would have benefited from a show.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was a show, then it would have like taken like, okay, here's all these movies, and watch like a 10-hour long Captain America show, and then watch the Avengers. That would take away a lot of stuff from it. So I am.
Yeah. I mean, there's some things that deserve a show, and then there's some things that deserve a movie.
Yeah.
So they just have to learn which one is which. So
Yeah, exactly.
I think She-Hulk might have benefited from a movie,
Yeah.
but because the show definitely didn't work. Yeah. So they just have to learn find the balance between show and movie, and they just need to learn which one deserves it and which one doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. Because, like, watching all these characters, it's like, yep, I want to see another Iron Man movie. I want to see another, like, I want to see a movie for everyone else. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still not glad. I'm still sad we never got another Hulk movie after
yeah.
Mark Ruffalo because he's so good. That's like, damn, that sucks. But, like, I didn't come away from this being like, man, I want a TV show about Agent Hill and Phil Coulson working together. And we got that. We got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Didn't like that one that much, so...
I started, and then, like, yeah, no.
Yeah, the only thing, like, I really watched was when Ghost Rider showed up. And that's the thing, it's like... That's something that I a lot of people like. I've seen a lot of people like that actually really like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But, like, when I was watching it, like, I wasn't into it that much. And not because the characters sucked or anything. Like, just... It was just really dull.
Yeah.
Like, nothing was really happening. So it was like... That's what I mean, where it's like, I'm glad that they didn't make that canon.
Yeah.
Because it was just... It's 7 seasons long. And it's like, dude, I don't want to watch 7 seasons of these guys. I love Phil
Yeah.
Coulson, but I'm like... I would like to see you pop up in more movies. And he can definitely carry his own show, because he was the most enjoyable part
Yeah.
of that. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just, it was kind of dull. So, like, I
Yeah.
do think it was kind of a mistake to be like, ooh, everyone liked Avengers and S.H.I.E.L.D., let's make a show about it. Because, like, I don't think that was
Yeah.
the right call.
No.
And we're not doing that for the podcast, because it's,
No.
number one, it's not canon anymore.
And
I'm
also,
pretty sure. And number two, we
it's-
don't want to watch 7 seasons.
yeah,
of the
it's
show.
long as fuck.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the movie we're watching, I did want to talk about Loki, because he's very different from what he was like in Thor. He's definitely more violent. Yeah. And he just acts completely different.
Yeah, he does
'Cause-
a much better job. It's whack.
Oh yeah, it's much better job, yes, but like also the character himself, he's yeah, he does creepy ass smiles all the time. But he's more like a fucking psychopath in this movie than he was, like, he actually seemed like he cared in Thor, but
Yeah.
now he's just like, nah, fuck everyone.
Yeah.
Which is weird. And also didn't Loki let go of Thor's hand? And then Loki's like, you threw me into an abyss.
Yeah.
No, bitch, you let go.
Yeah, I know.
So it's funny because they just act so differently. Loki was more innocent. Not innocent per se, because,
But he was more like noivous. And
yeah,
stuff,
he was more quiet and kept to himself.
Yeah.
And then in this movie, he's like, "Oh, I was a king. I am a king.
Yeah.
I'm a god.
I'm
Kneel
gonna
down."
gouge this motherfucker's eye out, bro. Fuck you. I don't
Yeah.
even know why he did that, to be honest.
I have
with
no
you.
idea. No, it's not like you have powers of illusion and can,
I know.
fucking look like him or anything. Nah.
Yeah.
But I did like how they called out him just being a drama queen.
Yeah, that
So-
was funny.
And, like, it was funny, too, because Tony Stark was, like, describing himself and then realized, oh, shit, that's me.
Yeah.
He's going to my tower.
Yeah.
So,
That's the thing. This movie's really fucking funny, too.
oh, yeah. It's funny how, I think Tony Stark's somewhat self-aware. So it's
He
funny to see that.
definitely is.
I'm glad they show that
Mm-hmm.
because it really adds to the hilariousness of his character.
Yeah.
So-
And apparently the whole time when he was walking around, like, giving him snacks, that wasn't in the script. Robert Downey Jr. was just doing that, giving people food. Shit, I thought that was funny.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Like, the whole movie's funny, and everyone,
Yeah.
again, has their own humor,
Mhm.
and it's just well-written
Yeah.
humor than the comedy that is She-Hulk. So.
Oh, yes. That, yeah.
Or Love and Thunder. No offense to
Yeah.
people who like that one. I didn't really think that one was funny.
Yeah, Thor, I mean, when you look back on, like, Thor is still funny in this, but that's not his whole personality.
Yeah,
he's
he makes
still,
like 2 jokes.
yeah,
I think.
he's still, like, acts like a god would,
Yeah.
I would say. And then now he's just, goofy the whole time.
Yeah.
So, I also did like how they brought up Jane and how Thor was worried about her.
Yeah.
So I like that. Like, he's sticking to storyline that would make sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm glad they didn't just throw that out. And I like
Yeah.
how they had Eric Selvig in there,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, "Oh, I know that dude. He's a
Yeah.
friend."
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm glad they brought all that together.
Yeah.
So
It was
yeah,
good setup and execution that they did
Yeah.
well.
definitely.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I am glad Natalie Portman wasn't like in the movie because I feel like that would have made it worse. But
Yeah.
I am glad that they did acknowledge her, so he didn't just come to Earth and be like, "Yeah, who's that bitch again?" Oh, whatever.
Yeah, he still cares. And,
Yeah.
that's his whole reason for getting his hammer back was he became human, so he knows. Yeah.
But I think that's all the positives, like the main positives.
I mean,
guess.
yeah, like
'Cause-
I think that I talked about everything I
Yeah.
have. So.
I only have a few more and stuff of just
Okay.
like Phil Coulson's death was really
Yeah.
good, and really
Oh
sad.
yeah, that I did have. Like that was a really impactful moment because I think he's the character who's been built up the most,
Yeah.
which is funny because he just appears and is funny and then leaves.
Yeah,
So-
in every movie he's been in.
Yeah,
so-
I know. And then when he dies, it's like actually sad. Like, oh shit, he just sacrificed himself
Yeah.
for nothing, kind of. But
Yeah.
but it brought the team together, and
Yeah.
in the end, they avenged him.
Mhm.
So
Like
I'm
when,
really glad that they did that.
Yeah. When Tony fell out the window and it flew back up, I was like, "There's one more person you pissed off. His name was Phil." Like that was cool.
Yeah.
Because the whole movie, like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was really sad because he was a character that was built up this whole time, and everyone loved him,
Yeah.
and then he died.
Yep.
So
And Nick Fury ruined his trading cards because he covered it with his blood just to get them together. Yeah. Whatever.
yeah,
But yeah, I really liked him and his stuff was really
Oh,
sad.
yeah.
And again, it's like cool that he got his own TV show, but
not canon. So
yeah.
oh well.
Yeah. And I'll actually be kind of sad if they make it canon because I feel like that'll just be kind of like the fact where I don't want Iron Man to come back because I feel like that'll just
Oh yeah.
be like, what the fuck, dude.
You just
Yeah.
killed them for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like that's kind of like how I feel about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a little bit, where it's like, okay, I like him.
Mhm.
Cool to see him again,
Oh yeah.
but he died for a reason,
Yeah.
and you shouldn't just bring him back just because he's a fan favorite and shit like that. And I have something like the Wolverine is an exception for me, just because like I did like Logan. And
Yeah.
he died in Logan, but like bringing him back now, it's like, okay, I liked Logan, but I don't know if it's a hot take or anything, but I don't like how he died in Logan.
Yeah.
Like,
I haven't seen Logan, so. But
Yeah.
all I know is he dies.
yeah,
So.
I could say I hope I went to spoil that, but I didn't like his. I'm not gonna go into how he died or anything, but like,
Wasn't he impaled on something?
yeah.
Okay.
But it was cool. Like, it was sad.
Mhm.
Like, it was really sad. But it's just like I don't feel like that was like a definitive death.
Mhm.
You know, like Iron Man felt like a definitive
Oh,
death
yeah.
and stuff, and like it felt like a fitting ending. But like when Wolverine died, I'm like, yeah, that's sad, and yeah, move on with that. But like I feel like there can be more to be told about him and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Iron Man, there could be more to be told, but I don't at the same time. Like I
Yeah.
feel like where he died was perfect.
Yeah.
But like Wolverine, it's like, yeah, there's a lot more for him to do. So
Mhm.
that's why, like, when they announced that they're bringing him back, I was like, yes, let's fucking go. But like, if they say, hey, Rob Downey Jr.'s coming back, I'd be like, fuck, no, I love him, but no, he's
Yeah.
dead. So
It's a weird thing. And wasn't Logan an alternate universe? Or okay,
Yeah.
so it makes sense for him to come
yeah,
back,
exactly.
so.
Like it's supposed to be like in the future, but
Mm.
I don't think so. I think it's just
Okay.
an alternate timeline. So
Okay, that works. So I'm happy he's coming back, because if someone replaced him, then I wouldn't like it.
that's the thing. Like, we were talking about that like in the first X-Men
Yeah.
episode we did, where it's like, I don't want it to be anybody else but him, and
Yeah.
he's back, so let's go.
Woohoo! Yeah, I think that's all I had. So if you have anything else,
I do.
Okay.
I have one mixed. The one mixed.
one.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I did not like Thor in the movie at all.
I see.
Like, he was funny for a few scenes, and some of the action he did was cool.
Mm.
But like, overall, I feel like he honestly was worse in this one than he was in the first Thor. And
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, he looked much better.
He did look a
he
lot
didn't
like the
have
eyebrows.
neon eyebrows.
Yeah.
So.
Like, I think he looked better, and the CGI I think was better just because this one had a higher budget.
Mhm.
But like overall, like he felt more like the outcast than Hawkeye did to me. Like,
Yeah.
Hawkeye felt like he was more part of the team, because even like
I think
like
it's just he showed up late and then was missing from the group for a bunch, and then
Yeah.
Hulk punched him.
yeah, yeah. Like that's
So-
the thing. The only scenes I remember of his are like that little fight he had with Hulk, and that was only like a 2-second fight.
Yeah.
really too. And then when he was on like that Chitauri, and then Hulk
Yeah.
punched him. That's all I really remember of him in this
Yeah,
movie.
he's really. I think he's in this movie the least,
Yeah,
which is funny because Hawkeye was.
that's what I mean. Like, everyone is
barely in it.
giving Hawkeye shit. I'm like, bro, he did more than Thor did. This is so...
honestly. But I see how it's a mix, but
Mhm.
I really didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
But it is funny that Loki's the main villain and then Thor is not.
That's what I mean.
there,
Like, it's
so-
that's what's just so weird
Yeah.
to me. It's like you feel like Thor would be like the most focused on character because it's his brother that's trying to kill everything. But like,
Yeah, I feel like if it could have gone a lot differently if they had started like with Loki and then Thor, you know. I wonder if having Thor making his just entrance instead of you could have like had a scene with him there. Hello? Am I hearing things?
I didn't hear that. So
Okay,
maybe...
I am hearing things. So I think maybe having a scene of Thor on Asgard and then realizing Loki's alive or something like that,
Yeah.
and then him flying down and fighting would have been much better than him just making a entrance like, oh hello, I'm
Yeah.
in this movie.
Yeah,
So-
that's how it felt, really.
Yeah, I think leaving Asgard out of it was a weird decision since you
I
know,
honestly
that's-
think
we're-
it's just because they couldn't get Anthony Hopkins. Like, I really think that's
Probably.
why. Because they're like, fuck, we have to pay. There's so much money, and we can't afford Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But
Mm.
overall,
Yeah, that it didn't like ruin my enjoyment
Oh,
of the
no.
movie at all. But
No.
it's just so funny that watching this, I was like, damn, Thor kind of sucks in this movie. Again, his fight with Iron Man was cool,
Mhm.
but that was just only because the action was cool and stuff
Yeah.
like that's not because like, oh, I love Thor.
Yeah.
But it's just like I didn't really get to like Thor. I mean, I still liked him, but I didn't like love him until like Age of Ultron and especially Ragnarok.
Oh, yeah.
And then so on.
Ragnarok was amazing.
Yeah, so it's just so weird to go back and watch these movies and be like, man, you used to suck.
Yeah,
like,
it's
weird.
weird seeing the rocky start, I guess, and then into what Marvel is now. So
Yeah.
it's funny that the rocky start is better than Marvel now, but
Yeah.
we'll see if that changes.
But yeah, it's the only mix that
Yeah.
I had. It wasn't, again, not major, but it was just everyone else was great, and then it was just he was like just okay to me. But yeah, that's all I got on that. But so overall, I do think this great conclusion to Phase 1 to really like this really was like the kickstart of Marvel pretty much. Like Iron Man did great, but like this is what drew everybody in to be like, oh yeah, we're actually doing this. We're gonna make a whole franchise.
It's
and
actually
shit.
happening.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Disney bought it and went down the shit.
Yep. Yeah, you could definitely tell this one was not owned by Disney.
Oh, I
like
know.
Loki calls Black Widow a cunt. And it's like, damn, bro, Jesus.
Not Disney.
Yeah, so it's
Mickey
like,
Mouse would never say that.
well,
Uh-oh.
but yeah, this one definitely was really good, and I'm glad that they like, because if this movie failed, Jesus, imagine like,
Oh my god.
because again, going to DC, Justice League fucking failed.
Oh, yeah.
And that basically killed the franchise. Like we still have movies coming out, but no one is excited for them anymore. So
I think really the actors killed the franchise.
yeah,
Ezra Miller.
yeah, Amber Heard.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but like that is true. But like, I just think that if this movie failed, then
Oh, yeah.
nothing would have
If this
ever
movie
happened.
failed, we wouldn't have MCU anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's just this one needed, like, especially like,
Oh, yeah.
they could do a shitty job with Thor, Hulk, Iron Man 2, Captain America, whatever they wanted. They could do a shitty job with all those, but this was the one that they like. Okay, we need to actually fucking try on. So
Yeah,
and you
but-
can tell that they try on it. So
Yeah.
it's just funny that every other one, again, the other movies in this phase, like you could tell that they tried, but like this one just, I don't know what it is. It just like they feels like they were like, okay, now we need to actually try.
Yeah.
And it's just weird.
Yeah. I'm really glad this movie succeeded.
Me
Because
too.
it brought one of the greatest universes in the world, and then they are destroying it.
Yep. Which is very sad. But yeah, Phase 4 thankfully is done in like a month.
Yeah.
So thank
Can't wait.
fucking God. Yeah. Ugh, and then we can finally judge the phase on its own. Again, I hope Black Widow. I hope Black Panther's good. I kind of doubt it because this whole phase has sucked
Yeah.
really bad. But I don't know. I'm hoping that Phase 4 won't is just like the bump in the road.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh fuck, sorry, and then they just
I
get
hope
better.
they learn.
Yeah.
Because if they are so like naive to think that they can do whatever they want at this point,
Yeah. And that's like how they feel now. Like She-Hulk, the
that's the
ending, that
problem.
just felt like they just did whatever the fuck they wanted to do. But like
And
Kevin
when I was watching the episode, I'm like, oh shit, they're gonna be self-aware. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
They're just gonna ruin the whole show.
Yeah, and again, the show was already ruined before that, but
Yeah.
like that just fucking solidified it.
I know, it really did.
And again, like the fourth wall breaks when Deadpool does it are funny, and it's not just because he's a guy; it's just because he's actually fucking funny.
Yeah. He's
but-
an actual comedian.
So, and again, no hate to the actress who plays She-Hulk
no.
or anything. It's the writers that I don't like. So, it's just like sad that like now Marvel just feels like they can do whatever the fuck they want and people will
Yeah.
watch. And it's like I don't want to watch it. And I saw like because I posted something on my community tab the other day about like what my overall thoughts on She-Hulk
Yeah.
were. It's like a quick little thing, and for some reason I got a bunch of comments being like, "Well, why'd you watch it then if you didn't like it?"
Well, bitch, because it's basically my job.
Yeah, that too. But also the fact that like I'm a Marvel fan.
Yeah.
And if you
exactly.
guys know Marvel, you have to watch everything.
Yeah.
Like if you miss something, then like the next movie you're like, what the fuck does that mean? So
Yeah.
it's like you kind of have to watch everything.
And I've said this before, like, people are gonna watch it, but you're running out of like excuses for people to watch it.
Yeah.
People are gonna start not giving a fuck if it doesn't matter. So, like, if you like, people are just gonna watch it because, like you said, it's Marvel. They need to, keep up with all the lore and all that shit.
Yep.
But if the lore doesn't matter anymore, no one's gonna come watch it. So.
Yeah. And that's why, like, I was skimming through Miss Marvel because, like, dude, I don't even care. Like, if they mention something down the road I don't understand it, I'm like, whatever. It's Miss Marvel, I don't care.
Yeah.
Or, like, in this show, it's like the only reason you and I watch it, I'm assuming majority of people, was fucking Daredevil was in it. Yeah. So, and I feel like if they didn't, like, advertise him in the first trailer, then I wouldn't have kept watching after, like, the second episode.
Right.
So,
because the trailer was terrible.
Yeah. And the only reason I was excited to watch it was because I thought like there would be a lot of superhero cameos in it, and and again, it's not all cameos. I don't care about that. I care about writing more than anything, and I know you and I especially are like we need the writing to be good. But like I was like, oh, maybe they'll have like Jessica Jones and stuff like. I didn't even think Daredevil was gonna be until I watched the end of the trailer, and I was like, oh fuck, that's awesome. But like. I don't know, like all the cameos that were there were fucking terrible. So besides Daredevil,
what do you mean? Leapfrog was in it. What do you mean? What do you mean it was bad?
It's probably somebody's commenting that too. I don't know, but it's just like it's nice to see something like this where like they were still in their infancy, if that's the word for it, where they're like, okay, we actually need to try to make a good movie instead of just doing whatever the fuck we want.
I think they've given up at this point.
Seriously.
They're not trying.
Again, like, who knows how the other movies are going to be or the other shows are going to be, because I am excited for almost every show coming out now. Like this year for Moon Knight, I was like, I don't know what that is. I'll see if I like it. Miss Marvel, I was like, I didn't like her in the video game, so I don't know if I'm going to like this one. And She-Hulk, I was like, oh, Daredevil's going to be in it. Oh, the show fucking sucks, though. I don't know. But, like, every other show, I'm kind of excited for now, because I'm just hoping they'll be good, because I'm hoping that they learn that this phase was fucking atrocious, so that they...
Yeah, I also found it funny, like you're talking about that post you made, and then people are sitting there defending She-Hulk, like, oh, we can't just have a lighthearted, funny show. I'm like,
it's weird.
No, that's not, that's literally the exact opposite of what Marvel was built on.
Yeah.
You can't just change up something that people have been watching for 10 years.
Yeah.
You can't just change that, because it's what's been, wait, is it 20 years?
10. Almost 20 in 2028.
Okay, so...
Well, 20 years since X-Men came out. But...
Yeah. We'll say 20 years, just because it's bigger number.
Yeah.
So they've been doing this formula for 20 years, and then She-Hulk comes along and is like, no, you can't do that anymore. I'm like, fuck you!
Yeah, seriously.
It's what everybody wants to see. And then, like, we get new Marvel fans who are like, oh, this is good, who haven't watched the rest of the MCU, who just see this and they're like, oh, what's wrong with this? It's just they don't understand that that's not how Marvel's been for 20 years. And you can't just change that.
Yeah.
So.
And that's the thing, like, I saw everyone being like, oh, it's a sitcom. So that's not, it's a sitcom. You need to watch it as a sitcom. It's like, yeah, but I can't.
Yeah.
Like, WandaVision was a sitcom, too. But, like, they did that in a very unique, interesting way.
Yeah.
Where it still felt like a sitcom. It still felt like Marvel. And again, I loved that show until the end.
Yeah.
But, like, all the sitcom stuff I loved.
Yeah.
Like, when they got away with it at the end, I didn't like it. But, like, that was good. This is just, like...
bad.
Yeah, it's like
It's just
really
bad.
shitty. So it's like, I'm sorry, I can't just watch it as that. And even like Miss Marvel, like I didn't think the first episode was terrible. Like I thought it was
Miss
all
Marvel, I think, is better than you're saying it is, because I know you just skimmed through it, but I watched the whole thing, and I think it's a decent mix between the comedy and action, because. I mean, it was quick and very fast, and there was no real antagonist to it.
Yeah.
But it was still it's kind of weird because it's not like other Marvel shows, but it still has that base element to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just ditched that in She-Hulk. So
yeah, exactly.
Miss Marvel is still a good show. It just not the best. But the idea was there, is what I'm saying. But
Yeah,
they
I
didn't
getcha.
execute it correctly. But She-Hulk they executed what they wanted to.
Yeah.
But it was not good.
Because for Miss Marvel, like, the first episode I thought was alright.
Mm-hmm.
Every other one I was just so bored, and I just
Yeah.
couldn't get into anything about it, so I just really didn't like it. I didn't like the last episode at all, so I was just
the
like...
last episode was...
Most of the last
dumb.
episodes of all the shows have been fucking awful,
Yeah.
so... It's just like they need to stop. And again, in She-Hulk, they pointed out like the writing problems, and it's like, okay, when you point it out,
Maybe you should fucking
you fix
follow
it. Yeah, I know. It's like if you know that you
That's
suck.
why I thought it was going to be a self-aware moment where they were actually going to fix it at the end. They're like, oh, we made it bad on purpose, but no,
Yeah.
they made it even worse.
Yeah, I know. It's like
Because in the writer's room, I was like, okay, she has a point. Good. And then she goes to Kevin, and she's like, nah, remove this. I understand why they removed Hulk, because that made no fucking sense. But taking away Abomination,
that
no.
was stupid.
Because then he just fucking leaves prison and then does whatever he wants.
Okay. He's
and
probably
then-
just gonna be in Thunderbolts, so it's like
I'm okay with that.
yeah, me too. But
And then with Todd, no one liked him. But if you set up a fucking story, follow through, and don't fucking
yeah,
delete the whole story, because now Todd's fucking useless. Like, the whole point was he wanted the power for himself, and it happened. And then she's like, no, that's gross. It's like, fuck you!
yeah.
You had a whole story, and then it's gone. So,
Yep. And that's not how you write a story. So.
no.
And again, for me, like, I make shit up as I go along. That's
Yeah.
not a secret. Like, every, like, what if that I make, like, legit, I'll write the first part, and then I'll write the second part. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
like, make up the whole story in one go and then divide it up. No, I write it up as I go along. But, like, I'm just a guy who just makes YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I'm not, like, a fucking corporation of Marvel, of writers and shit. Like, to me, it feels like they just made the shit up as they went along. And it's like, okay, that you can't do because you're making it for millions of people who want to watch this and shit. And it's just like, you need to try and like have a baseline of how you want your show to be. And if you want it to be a certain way, cool. Like, but you also have to think like, okay, will people actually like this? Because I don't know how they made this. I'm like, yeah, everyone's gonna love this. We're good. It's like, no, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I get not making stuff for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, that's not what you're trying to... You shouldn't try to do that.
Yeah.
But, like, stick to what you've been doing. Because even if your fan base goes away, there's always going to be those loyal, you know, loyal watchers who will enjoy what you're making. Because it's been what it's been the whole time.
Yeah.
And I get it, like... when you have such like $1 million movies and stuff, like you have to try to get your money back so you can keep making more. And I understand why they just can't let their numbers die off to just please the hardcore fans. But to some degree you have to do that, because if you're making like shit movies, then everyone's gonna go away.
Yeah.
So slowly transition, not just do big jumps between them.
Yeah.
And one thing I did want to bring up, like with the She-Hulk deleting everything, is that I feel like I have the same issue with time travel, because in shows, like if you go back to there was this one show, I can't remember the name, but they went back to the start of the whole show and changed the whole thing. I was like, all right, well, see you later. I'm not watching this shit.
Yeah.
But it was just like, I think it's I don't know. They're just using as an easy way out to change things, which sucks.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't do that. You should make a mistake and then address it and fix it.
Yeah.
Not go back on it so that it's
Like, that's how the Flash is. The Flash fucking sucks because they do that all the
Yeah,
time. They're
I
like,
know.
I'm gonna go back in time and change it. It's like, that's so fucking
Yeah,
stupid.
I can't even follow that timeline.
Me neither. Like, I don't I don't know what's
Like,
going on.
the first time they did it is like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, they changed, like, Iris dying.
Yeah.
Like, they go back, try to fix that. I'm like, okay, that's pretty epic.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 500th time they did that, I'm like, all right, here we go
Yeah,
again.
seriously. Timeline change again. Now I have another kid.
Not that
Yeah.
yeah, it's...
And a thing that I saw someone say too that they preferred She-Hulk to the newer Flash, and
I have to agree with that.
I do, but at the same time, I will go for the Flash. I'd rather watch that because that is funny unintentionally. Like, it feels like they don't know how to write either. They are fucking terrible writers. I'm not gonna say that they're better than She-Hulk. They're just as bad.
Yeah.
But they don't do comedy very well. And when they do comedy, it never lands. But like, so much of it is unintentionally funny that I just enjoy watching it because I'm laughing my ass off. And like when in the last episode of season when Reverse Flash had that fucking, or when he like ripped his fucking, that was the funniest shit.
That's the only reason why I keep watching The Flash.
I know. That's what I mean. Like, it's so fucking funny. But like She-Hulk, like I would not watch that because they do so much comedy and none of it was funny to me.
Yeah, and also, I think The Flash has history of being good.
Yeah.
But it slowly got worse.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas She-Hulk doesn't have that history, so starting off bad is not
exactly.
not too good for you.
Yeah, seriously. So if they ever have a season 2, it's like, oh fuck, I don't want to watch.
Oh, no.
I don't want to watch this. And the same thing with Moon Knight. I don't want to watch Moon Knight season 2.
I will say, if they do She-Hulk season 2, I will give it a try because if they take the feedback, then it will be, hopefully they can figure it out.
Yeah.
But if I watch it and it's the same shit over again, I'm not gonna stick around.
Mm-hmm.
Although I might, just because it's Marvel.
That's
I'll
the
skip
thing.
through it.
That's what I mean. That's what I did for Miss Marvel. And again, I'm not saying Miss Marvel's like the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And there is that part of people who are like, okay, this is not meant for me.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to watch it.
I think the main issue people had with it is because it was around the kids and there was no like adults in it.
Yeah.
So it was really just a... There's a term for it and I just don't remember what it is. But it's just, teenagers trying to figure out life, I guess. So I get why people didn't like that.
Yeah.
Because it's not Marvel. But it still had the same elephants. Yeah, it had the same elephants and the same elements that Marvel has kept.
Yeah.
And then She-Hulk shit it out the window. So
yeah, I don't know, but it's just so weird because I see all these people who keep saying like, oh, if you don't, it's not made for you, so don't watch it. And it's like, I bet you like little Pakistani girls loved Miss Marvel because like relating to them again. I love Peter Parker and Spider-Man because I relate to that. I can't relate to that. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I can't relate to it, so it fucking is terrible, because I don't relate to anything in the fucking Avengers.
Yeah.
I don't relate to any of that shit, but I still think it's good. You know why? Because it's written very well.
Yeah.
And again, Miss Marvel, not written very well. She-Hulk, not written very well. Every fucking Phase 4 thing, for the most part, isn't written very well. And this movie is just written great. Like, it's perfectly. So it just sucks when you go back to something that's as good as this, and then
have to face the reality of new Marvel. And it's like, oh shit.
So it's just sad.
Yeah.
But hey, we managed to stretch it out to an hour.
Let's
go. So that is the end of Phase 1 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we're not fully done yet because we have another video after this one coming up, which is us going to be ranking everything that we've gone over so far. And the ranking's not just gonna consist of the main MCU. It's gonna have the X-Men movies and the Spider-Man movies that we talked about too. So make sure to look forward to that one. That'll be the finale of the podcast for, I guess we'll call it season 1 of the podcast. And then move on to making it better, I guess.
Yeah. We do want to increase production quality. So we might take a little break to figure out the podcast, and who knows, maybe work on some story in between, play to both of our strengths, where mine is clearly not talking. So
hey, we've managed to last like 14 episodes. So.
Yeah, and I shit my brain out every single time. So who knows? So we have the ranking, and then we're gonna take a break for hopefully not that long, but we'll see. Some life events might come in the way of that, but I definitely don't want to stop making content.
Yeah.
So it'll be different, but it just actually might be better. We'll see.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So make sure to look forward to the ranking coming up soon. It won't be as long as these, so don't worry. It'll be probably at most like a half hour or something, and I'll make sure to edit that to have visuals and stuff, so it won't just be a screen with two of our profile pictures and stuff. But yeah, so make sure to check that out, and thank you guys so much for watching this episode as always. For you 300 something people who always watch this, I really appreciate it.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this. All right, so thank you all very much for watching, and we will see you next time. So bye.
Bye.